So it's clear. Orange Man clearly understands MAGA. He knows what we are about. He gets it. He's the reason for why they exist. Now, before I go on into everything that I believe, let me just say this. Before Trump came down the escalator, MAGA, they were referred to as the silent majority. They've been a thing, okay? And I say they because this was before they became vocal. This was before they were coined the name MAGA. This was before Trump, all the rest of it. No president, no candidate running for president could win the election without moving the silent majority in their favor. It's how Bush won. It's how Obama won. Okay. You had to convince what was then referred to as the silent majority in order to win elections. Trump, being that he was such a political and cultural shock to the American system, said that it was okay to be vocal about your beliefs, that you can be vocal about what you actually think. And the silent majority was silent no more. And just like that, there was MAGA. Okay. America First is not a new phrase. It didn't come down the escalator with Trump. At bare minimum, I know for a fact that this is a phrase that's been used even back in the early 21st century when I was still a child. Okay. I'm 30, you guys. So, hello. The slogan America First, not new. The silent majority, they've always been here. And thanks to President Trump, so this is not a little thing. Thanks to President Trump, the silent majority doesn't have to be silent anymore. They have a new name. They're called MAGA. Thank you for the name. Thank you for showing that it is okay to be a Christian monarchist, to be an American patriot. Very grateful for that, especially because they chose not to be silent anymore. This gave room for people to find turning point and for Candace Owens to come down and to come out as the red pill woman at the time. This is what allowed independent voices to grow, why I'm even here today. So very grateful to everything that Trump has done for the silent majority, because they became vocalized because he came down the escalator. And through that vocalization, more Americans have become America First. More Americans have understood why the establishment is the problem. It's why you have such a rigorous and challenging conflict within the Republican Party, why even the Democrats are having their conflict within their own party as well. It's because the silent majority, silent no more. And very grateful to that. Excuse me, very grateful for that. But that does not mean that he's the reason why the silent majority, now MAGA, exists. And it doesn't mean that he knows what we want, because it's quite clear to the rest of us. Yeah, no, dude, I don't think you're getting it. Okay. I really don't think you are. Part of the reason why he was so appealing to me back when he was running in his first term and I was going through my red pill stages, he was saying everything right. You're looking at someone who had problems with legal immigration. And there he was on the debate stage during the primary, I'm saying, where he's saying, I need to get rid of the H-1B visas. As a business owner, I benefited from them, but it's time to protect the American worker, and the H-1B visas do us harm, do the American workers harm. When he does Liberation Day this year, he says, I'm going to strengthen manufacturing. I'm going to make sure Americans have jobs. And then he goes and does this interview with Laura Ingraham where it all falls to pieces. And he says, and I have it here, quote, I like bringing outside people in. Now, to be fair, this was about the colleges. He thought it's okay to, not just from China, but from other countries as well, to come in, because I look at the universities like a business. His words, not mine. Go and watch the interview, you guys. I recommend you do, because if you're someone who is still a Trump supporter, you're a Trumplican and not MAGA, not America First, you're not about the mission, you're about the man, then go watch that interview and tell me that you can still stand idly by and defend these ideas. Now, this, again, doesn't mean that I hate the guy. It doesn't mean that I don't support President Trump on some of the policies that he's putting in place. There were things about the One Big Beautiful Bill that I did like. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And as someone who does get tips in her job, yeah, I do like that policy, okay? But he's not the crusader. I made this very clear during the campaign. After he won, America First is about fixing our economy to being truly capitalist, about preserving opportunity for American citizens. And there is not one American, at least in my opinion, even the ones who are leaning towards Democrat socialism, who disagree with that. They understand, just like the conservative, America is a hybrid economic system. We are a crony capitalist society, and he was supposed to go in there and wreck that. He obviously isn't doing that. In fact, he's participating in this. Explain to me how you are a representative of MAGA, Mr. President, when one of the first things you did was give millions, if not billions of dollars to big tech companies like Oracle, like OpenAI, via the Stargate AI project. You did that at the beginning of the year. But your four small businesses, you chose winners when you chose to give money to Oracle and to OpenAI. Oh, because it's so important that we beat out China. It's so important that we beat out the rest of the world. It's so important that we maintain our position as the global order of the world. I don't care about none of that. Okay. You gave taxpayer dollars or tariff dollars, whatever you want to call it. Okay. To big tech companies. What? What about the small businesses that suffered during COVID, which you participated in creating? Explain this to me. Then you talk about how you want to protect the American worker, Mr. President. And guess what? Allowing all of the cheap labor to come in because you made deals with businesses to come into America. Yeah, you didn't say that on Liberation Day. We were under the impression that you were going to bring businesses in and get Americans trained and employed. Then you go on to Laura Ingraham, and he says, what does he say, you guys? That Americans don't have the talent. You called us talentless, Mr. President. And even Ingram's face looked concerned. Like, why would he say that? Why would you say something like that? Oh, well, we didn't make all these deals to bring businesses into America, to pull Americans off of the unemployment line after being unemployed for 5 years. Think about that time. 5 years. Well, what happened 5 years ago? All these Americans were unemployed. I wonder. I wonder. Oh, right. Yeah, it was COVID, which you allowed to happen. That's specifically with the shutdowns. I mean, he didn't allow COVID to happen, right? But he did allow the shutdowns to happen, which when it was happening, all these countries around the world were shutting down. I said, yeah, not America. Why? One, we have the Constitution, and that would be unconstitutional. That's number one. And number two, not under President Trump. He ain't the one. And I was wrong. Now, not about the Constitution part, but about President Trump. So many young Americans felt hopeless, their purpose lost. I had a goal. I had a dream. I wasn't even supposed to be in Texas, you guys. I had a whole idea. I was going to be one of these, playwrights that would, conservative playwrights that would make it to Broadway, and I would change Broadway for the better. And I wanted to get conservative stories on the stage, if not on Broadway, off Broadway. Like, that was my goal. That was my dream. I was going to be a narrative voice for the conservative movement in the theater world. That's what I wanted. That was my dream. And because of COVID shutdowns, that didn't happen. And he participated in that. How many dreams were destroyed? Do you know how many young people committed suicide? A weaker person would have gone into prostitution, some did, or killed themselves, and some did. Some remain unemployed because they lost their drive, they lost their momentum, and you got the nerve to get onto Laura Ingraham and call us talentless, to say that you're not going to pull unemployed people who've been unemployed for years, which you participated in. Like, dude, you don't get to say all of those things and not acknowledge you played a role in that by not protecting the civil liberties of your people. Dude, what are you saying? And you guys know me. I'm the one that says, take up responsibility, do for self, okay? Take up where you know you did wrong. I've done this in previous videos where I've talked about what the individual needs to do in order to protect their own position. I'm not saying that there aren't problems with the system or the institutions, but there are things that we could be doing. But the head of all institutions in our country is saying we're talentless people. We're not going to hire unemployed people, and we're going to bring in legal immigrants to take those jobs from Americans. Are you kidding me? That's not America first. But you know what MAGA wants. MAGA was here long before you, Mr. President. Okay? They didn't have a name, and they weren't vocal. Now, that does not mean that you don't deserve a round of applause for that or gratitude for that. But I would say being elected twice, defended after 2020, I would say, yeah, no, I think we've shown you our gratitude. Dude, I voted for you. I participated in making sure that you got the most votes in Pennsylvania. That's how much I believed in your campaign. Okay. Now, I knew you were no crusader even then when I was trying to get people not to vote for Kamala Harris. I knew you weren't a crusader. Okay. But I'm grateful enough to do that work. I'm grateful, and I was happy to do it. Happy to do it. At bare minimum, that border was going to be secure. Americans were going to get the jobs that they wanted. The economy was going to be better. And from the looks of it, that is happening. Walmart's come out with their numbers. Okay. We saw this in the interview as well. Walmart has come out and said that Thanksgiving dinner is going to be more affordable than it's been in the last 4 years. That's a fantastic thing. Groceries are going to be more affordable. They are more affordable. Energy is more affordable. It ain't there yet, which is why young people are still like, what growth? Like what growth? Like that's just right. The numbers are improving, but they haven't gotten there yet. And America First is willing to give you the grace on it, like we were with the tariffs. But if the whole point of the tariffs was to replace American workers with immigrants, you're going to have a problem. And sorry, not sorry, I'm more likely to believe the farmers and the ranchers, the people who supply the necessities of our civilization. Yeah, when they say they don't like what you're doing, I'm more likely to agree with them and believe them over the government. What is MAGA? It's about putting Americans first, not getting caught up in regime change wars, not sending money overseas, not allowing the market to be flooded with cheap labor, not denying opportunity, not fighting people like Hochul over the congestion pricing, which is causing some serious harm both physically and financially to New Yorkers and people who travel in and out of New York from other states like Pennsylvania, Connecticut, or New Jersey. Where are you on this, man? Sorry, but when the CNN anchor asks Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you representing MAGA? Fair question. Glad she asked, because there I was shouting at my screen, hoping Marjorie would say it. She didn't. I still love her, though. No, you are not representing MAGA. You did not create MAGA. You gave them a name. So thank you for the name. You said it was okay to be vocal about your beliefs because it was necessary. And it's done tremendous because they chose to be vocal. But they were already here long before you were, okay? And they will continue to be here, even if Republicans lose power. Republicans lose power come the midterms because you refuse to acknowledge the strength of MAGA, of America First. Guess what? We will still be here, and it's even larger than it was beforehand. The silent majority will still be here. They are silent no more, and we will continue to grow, okay? Through more independent voices like myself, possibly even seeing more movements. And we're already seeing Turning Point get larger. Say what you want about what's going on with Turning Point, but the numbers are showing more people signed up for Turning Point. More young people are wanting to get involved in saving their country and preserving opportunity, creating opportunities in the private sector, building small businesses. You have an amazing entrepreneurial spirit. They are looking to be galvanized, mobilized, and Mr. President, you're missing the mark. Now, to quote Judge Judy, either you're playing dumb or it's not an act. It is not Marjorie that lost here. That's lost her way. It's not her that I'm questioning. It's you. Okay. I do not believe President Trump is representing MAGA. I do not believe he created MAGA. I think they were called the silent majority. He said it was okay to be vocal. They did become vocal. More young people, more millennials and Gen Zers have decided to become vocal, like myself. So many people have become red-pilled, opened their eyes to the problems with the establishment. And that's because he came down the escalator and was such a cultural shock. I'm grateful for that because I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for that. So I'm grateful. But I think America First has shown its gratitude on a number of occasions, okay? By showing up to vote, by defending you, testifying at those 2020 hearings, okay? Willing to risk their physical being just for wearing the MAGA hat. Dude, I think America First has shown out for you. And we don't believe you're showing up for us. You guys get in the comment sections and you let me know. Do you think President Trump created MAGA? Do you believe that he's the reason for why, as a movement, we exist? Because frankly, I think the silent majority was already here. Before they had a name, they were already a group of people who had a lot of power, regardless of the name. So get in the comment sections and let me know about that. Again, you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so that way you never miss an episode. And you guys, I really want to know what you think about this. So definitely get in the comment sections, okay? And I will see you in the next video.